So I'm going to read you a headline, and this is from Sky Sports. Gianni Infantino reveals new Club World Cup concept with 32 teams from 2025. FIFA president also admits 2026 World Cup group stage format to be rediscussed over 16 groups of 3 or 12 groups of 4. FIFA also announced plans to launch new friendly World Series tournament. So there's a surprise. We're going to flog the horse until it's dead. And really they're saying already that this is about providing more entertainment, better football. Bollocks. This is about lining the pockets of FIFA and the pockets of advertisers. This is nothing more than corporate money grabbing. This will interfere with every league across Europe and the UK. This will interfere with the Champions League. There'll be more pressure on players. Players will have less chance of recovering. There'll be more pressure on players to play for their country. And this is almost, you didn't manage to do the European Super League. So we're going to step in instead and give a world friendly series. Why? When are we actually, or when are they, the caretakers of the game? When are they actually going to start caretaking? Taking care of the footballers, taking care of the brand. I mean, it's bad enough we just had the World Cup in Qatar. Not because I have a problem with where the World Cup is held. It's just, it's the middle of winter. It's the middle of our season. The World Cup's supposed to be after the season has finished. After you've had all of the cups, after you know who's won the leagues. They then go into the World Cup, having finished all domestic competitions. But now we're going to have a bigger World Cup with more countries included. You're not making it more special. I don't want to see countries that otherwise wouldn't have qualified playing the teams that might go on to win. Qualification in itself was an achievement. There are teams that know, there are countries that know they'll never win a World Cup. I mean, as somebody from England, I'm also half Irish, so whenever Ireland qualify for the World Cup, I'm excited to see how far Ireland could get. But I expect England to qualify for the World Cup, and I expect England to qualify out of their group. I then might get excited about how far they can go. And in recent tournaments, we've achieved just now a quarterfinal. We got beaten by France. We got to the finals of the Euros, got beaten by Italy, and we got knocked out in the semi-finals of the last World Cup in Russia. I don't remember who beat us. So there's a different excitement for England than I have for when Ireland qualify. When Ireland qualify, I'm just excited that they got there because they don't always qualify. It was disappointing this year that Italy didn't qualify. And when you open that up so more teams, countries can play, what are you doing? You're just diluting the brand. There's no care about the integrity of the game. The quality is you want almost the least amount of teams that you can get to make it as competitive as possible. Within reason. We have just had, I think, a pretty good World Cup. We've had some nice shocks, some good surprises. It doesn't need to be changed. We have to stop playing around with these formats because the only reason they're actually doing it is because of the money men. The American concept of entertainment outside of the game itself. There's these large corporations pushing for more. And we're not going to get more. You never do. Players have a tank like anyone else. And once that's empty, once that's dry, they're just going to burn out. You see it already with potentially top players just burning out. They need less games, more recovery. Because it's funny, you talk to any sports scientist and they will tell you recovery is almost more important than how hard you train. And no matter how hard you train, it must be at least matched by your recovery. And we don't do that anymore. And soon, I mean, you already hear about it, players playing with cortisol injections, painkiller injections. And not one of games, week in, week out. And no matter how much money you're paying some of these guys, eventually they're just like, what? Well, effectively, can you imagine looking in the mirror, waking up, you're looking in the mirror and you're like, Jesus Christ, I just don't want to do this anymore. And then you realise you've been sensible with your money, you've got millions in the bank, and you realise, actually, I don't have to do this anymore, do I? Because that's what we're going to see more of, much more. Or we're just going to see players that are just exhausted. I mean, we're already starting to see little snippets of how bad this is affecting players' mental health. And all of the football organisations will say we prioritise mental health and the well-being of the football players over everything else. Bollocks. They don't. They don't give a shit. This is basically, they're just slabs of meat, and when they're no good anymore, they can fuck off and die. But player welfare is going to become a bigger issue than it is today, because eventually, sooner or later, there'll be a player that can't take it anymore and will kill themselves. And we're probably a lot closer to that than people realise. Players actually need more time away from the game, behind the scenes, with management, with physios, with the coaches, with the doctors, with the psychologists. They need more protection, not more exposure, so we can sell more TV rights, more tickets to the highest bidding country. That's not what we need. We need to take more care of the players, and we need to take more care of the game. As always, I appreciate everybody that listens. Please like, subscribe, and leave your comments below. Thank you.